Hello.
You know,
Do you know
other
what?
than, has this ever happened before?
Hmm.
No, mate, it hasn't.
Do you know what, Brian? I'm a little bit worried about us.
Why?
Because we've said this now. We said, oh, there we are at home and 2 people are turning up to buy our boat.
Yeah.
We felt like we were being invaded. What did we say? We didn't say invaded. What, not traumatized. What did we say when we said... 'cause
Invading my space.
that's a bit worrying,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's not worrying.
It
no.
is, Brian.
It's just because we live up on the hill.
I know, but do you reckon it's
Yeah.
because we never see anyone and like that's normal for someone to come to your house and buy your boat? That's like that's
well,
not.
they have to, don't they?
But it's traumatized us.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him.
Mother thanks you.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
I think you need to practice more on that.
No, it's just we're outside and it's looking a bit cloudy since we've set up, so it might rain.
The smell of the joss stick, I've got to say, is just making me feel sick. I might just
I
have
know.
to put it out.
Mm.
I thought by lighting it, it would make it all, I don't know, like calming. And I've had quite a busy morning and I thought that would make it like soothing. But it's actually making me feel a bit nauseous.
But it's getting windy, so as soon as we put the microphones out, it gets windy, doesn't it?
So welcome back this week. We are back with this podcast. We are outside. We are videoing this outside again with the joss stick that stinks and is making me feel sick.
Yep.
And we're back this week to talk to you about, well, what are we talking about?
Gosh,
Do you know what we're talking about?
Brian's voice is about to break.
We're talking about the stresses of selling stuff online.
What? It was a bit
Especially marketplace. I despise that Facebook marketplace. No, neither can I. And I don't like what it does to you.
Marketplace.
I don't like what it does to your personality.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to talk about.
Have I got a personality, Liz?
You have.
Have I?
Yes. And Facebook has destroyed it in this last week. And that's what we're going to talk about. But first of all, welcome back. Thank you for joining us this week. Like I say, we're sitting outside in our garden. It's overcast in New Zealand today, but it just feels nice. It's just got that sort of temperate temperature.
Yeah, it's autumn, but it just feels right, doesn't it?
Does.
You know, it's not. Well, it's only early autumn. What is it? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. It's like.
So last week we told you that we had some big news, and we're gonna stretch that out even further.
Yeah, because we don't want to tell you.
We can't tell you yet.
Nothing's happened.
No, but when we tell you, we'll tell you why we couldn't tell you.
Yeah, okay.
But we've got something big happening in the next few
weeks.
Yeah, it is weeks.
It's coming down to weeks.
I was going to say months then, but I thought, it's coming quicker.
Mm.
So we've got something really, really big happening in our life.
Yeah.
We can't tell you about it. Obviously, this is kind of like a ploy, isn't it? Because when you say this on podcasts, it makes people come back next week. So I'm hoping that's what it'll do.
Tell you at the end of the show, honest, and you don't
exactly.
forget all about it.
But part of what we're doing includes us getting on top of stuff and getting things sorted in our life so we're able to move on. And one of those things is making checklists.
Yeah.
Should we talk about my checklist?
Well, I never make checklists, but you make lots of checklists.
Do you know what?
You'll make a list and then we'll never see it again, ever.
I know. I know. And on last Friday, just gone, we thought we were doing so good because we're trying to get lots of content batched, aren't we?
Yeah.
When I say batched, I just mean lots of content made so that we're not falling behind with our content, because me and Brian get ourselves into a state where we are supposed to be releasing a podcast or a YouTube video that week and we still haven't made it. And when we went to Thailand last year, we had like 5 episodes all lined up in the bag, batched. Yeah. Batched is a good word, isn't it?
But it's hard to do it though, Liz. It's hard to batch everything. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Just batch it. And it's... sounds like batshit, doesn't it? Yeah. Just batshit.
It is batshit. It was batshit what we did on Friday, because we came out here on Friday. It was a beautiful day. We're like, let's just do 2 videos for YouTube. We got all our notes, what we were going to talk about. Yeah. It was a brilliant episode. Checklist. And we didn't have a checklist, and that's the whole point. And then we sat down, we recorded it. We were like 2 flipping, what's it called when you're like, two peacocks.
Knobheads?
No, not knobheads. two peacocks. After we finished, we're like, aren't we fantastic? Look at us, we've done two episodes.
How clever are we?
How clever are we? And we got inside and we were buzzing, weren't we? We said, that was so good. That's just brilliant. We've saved ourselves so much time and effort. We're real pros now. It just goes to show what we do when
But
we
you
put our
can do
mind
it.
to it, what we can do. We got inside, we put it onto the computer, we looked at it, and my mic wasn't turned on. So
Yeah.
we just wasted a whole morning recording an episode
Yeah.
for nothing.
No.
So we decided then, right, from now on, we're going to live our life by checklists.
Yeah, but do you know what? We haven't got a team of people standing behind a camera and with a checklist. You just need one person to go click, click. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, it's recording.
And
Yes,
that's
this,
me.
that, and the other.
I've brought my checklist to show
And
you.
there it is.
Here it is.
What does it say on your checklist, Liz?
So I
can't
wrote
read
it
your
down.
writing.
Well, it's okay
Get your
because,
glasses on.
well,
Yeah. No, for me.
so my checklist says, number 1, are we recording on the phone? Are we?
Yep.
Hope so. Number 2, are we recording on the machine? I couldn't remember what the machine was called.
It's called a Rodecaster
Yeah, I
Pro
do-
2.
Okay, I couldn't remember that. But are we
Okay.
recording on the machine that records
Yes.
the recordings, right?
Yes.
Are our mics turned on?
Yes.
Yes. Is your stupid, annoying, horrible, can't stand it Apple Watch turned off and disconnected? Because I tell you what, that's caused more problems in our life than I can care to imagine, that stupid watch.
Well, it's because we've got to get a different camera. Because we keep using the phone because we're lazy and we don't go out and buy another dedicated camera, which we need to, that we can flip the screen around and see ourselves.
Okay.
But the trouble is with that, you then look at yourself instead of the camera.
The thing with Baron's Apple Watch is when we were in Canada, when we went on away for a month in Canada, we lost a whole episode because you had accidentally, I'm not blaming you, but it was your fault because you should have turned the watch off.
It was great because it's got a little monitor on it, but by the time it connects and everything, and then, and then if you turn it off or if your sleeve touches it, it can press stop record. And you just think, well, that's
So that's
a bit
number
silly.
number 4. Number 5 is the fluffy mic plugged in, that thing on top of the top of the camera there.
But that's normally for when we do intros.
Right, so that doesn't
So
count.
it's
So can I
different.
cross
That's when
that
you're
one
walking
off?
around the garden normally.
And
Yeah.
number 6, what time is it?
Time is 11:57.
Yeah, so because that's the other thing is no one likes ramblers. And I
We haven't got much choice here, have you?
and I try to be aware of the fact, like all the good podcasts, right?
Yeah.
They keep it condensed, they keep it tight and short. And I feel like with us, and I know this is an insecurity on my part because so many people on YouTube, on the comments, they say, this podcast was 45 minutes longer than it should have been when it's like 47 minutes.
Right.
And that's
Nice.
I know.
Yeah, but you don't want people like
I
that.
know you
It's just
don't,
like
but-
they're not the people that like to listen to you, and it's obviously they want to get something out of what is the episode title, but it's not in there, is it?
No.
Or you just don't resonate.
But can you help when people write stuff like that? Can
Yeah.
you help but take it on and think, oh,
No, you
is our
can't.
podcast too long? Like, do we ramble on too much? So that's why I always say to you, right, Bri, let's just keep it to 40 minutes. Let's just keep it to 20 minutes. Let's just keep it. And that's why the time thing is on my checklist.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, but you've got
so
to.
that's the
Yeah,
checklist.
I agree because there's certain episodes that you could just talk forever because you're enjoying it, but does everybody else enjoy it? And so that's why you tend to keep them to around 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
2 hours later.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we've been doing. We've been creating checklist. Well, I have been creating a checklist. And it got me thinking. I just thought, do you know what? I could live my whole life by a checklist. I love checklists because once you've got a checklist,
Yeah.
you know you're on the right track.
Yeah. I think if you live your life by a checklist, if you forget the checklist, then you're stuffed. So being a tradie, yes, it's good to have a checklist, especially if you're say you're installing a gas furnace, boiler, whatever you want to call it, and then you've got to do all the safety tests. Is it leaking gas? Is it doing this? But it's drilled into your mind that there's certain things that you must go off the regulations and say, you've got a book there to go this, and it should only do this and this. But there's times when without that, you've still got to be able to remember it and to do it. And I think if you put too much down on paper, then you're not using your memory. You're just thinking you're reliant on the piece of paper.
Well, it
And
doesn't work for us, does
If
it?
you forget your...
Let's face
If
it.
you forget your device or your battery goes flat or you're out in the field and then you just think, oh, I don't know. I
Yeah,
really
but
don't know.
Brian, you're talking
What?
about like 10 years ago.
No, there's no
You've
difference.
aged and
No.
you forget things.
I had all my regulations on my iPad. So
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you're
Get the
saying,
iPad out of the
oh,
van.
use your memory,
Yeah.
Liz. Don't use checklists. Oh, no, I don't like using a checklist. Well, it doesn't work because twice now we've done episodes and we forgot to turn the mics on and we forgot to press play and we forgot. So there's your memory for you, mate.
You wouldn't be the first
isn't it?
podcaster or even in a professional situation, you won't be the first one that's happened.
I know, but
you
stop trying to make out that checklists are bad because they're not.
I do, but you become. I agree with checklists. There's times, if you're flying a plane, you need a checklist because you can't put that off memory. But what I'm trying to say is, if you lost the checklist, then you can't fly because you've got to go through the.
No, bloody well, hope not.
Yeah,
Don't you be flying that plane unless you've looked at your checklist.
There you go. But what I'm saying is, in life, to live your life by a piece of paper is not correct.
Ah, isn't it?
No, because if you lose your piece of paper, you're all fluttered and not fluttered. You're all at a loss. And I'm just saying, in the real world, if your piece of paper blows away, you're stuffed.
So do you think we should just throw our checklist away?
No, we need a checklist because it's like flying a plane doing a podcast, isn't it?
So let me get this straight. Are you saying you do want the do you want the checklist or do you not want the checklist?
For starting the podcast, yes, because you feel really shitty when you've just spent an hour of your life and it's a really good episode.
I know.
And someone hasn't turned the microphone on, or
it was me. I didn't turn the microphone on.
Or the video has been hit stop.
Mm.
But because we don't have a double screen, although we have a double device, as in the phone is recording this audio and the roadcaster is recording the audio. So the audio goes down or the video goes down, you've got a backup of either.
Do you know what, Brian?
But that's why I use headphones, because then it's coming through.
Do you know what?
What?
It's hard not to blame people, isn't it?
I know. Instantly you want to blame someone that it was not my fault.
But do you know what? I was listening to a podcast the other day and I thought this is so empowering. When you blame people, you're actually giving away your power.
Yeah, it's true.
It is, isn't it?
Of course it is.
And the other day, because it was your fault that microphone wasn't turned on because you're in charge of the microphone. So you should have checked it. And I know I put the microphone on and it was on my top and on my body and I should have maybe checked it.
Yeah.
But when we were nearly crying on Friday, and you said to me, "Well, didn't you check it? Didn't you check it?"
No, I didn't. I just said, "Did you turn your mic?" Because we went in. It's like, "Did you turn your microphone?"
Knew I hadn't.
Because what it is, the type of microphones we use, they're wireless microphones, and the trouble is my microphone picks up you. And vice versa, your microphone picks up me. Not like these, because these are very close to, we're kind of...
I'm not interested in this.
I'm just saying
about the blame.
But so straight away, it was, I checked mine because I can see the little LED display on the unit that is the receiver, and it was going up and down. I was thinking, okay, we're working. But you spoke, and I saw it go up and down, but I didn't see the bottom one go up and down.
Yeah.
When you think back, and instead of me going, Brian, check it again, that's why you're checking your microphone, because I always go 1, 2, 3, 4 and look
anyway,
at it.
I wanted to blame you, and you were blaming me.
Definitely.
And then I wanted
chance to get you back from Canada.
Yeah, I really wanted to blame you because I just wanted to say, "Oh, shut up! It was your fault. You should have checked it.
Yeah,
that's your job. You haven't got many, and this is yours, and you failed it." But then I remembered the wise words of the podcast.
Yeah,
and I remembered, do I want to give my power away? No, I don't. So don't you think, and you've never talked about this and you've never mentioned it, but I'm going to bring it up. Don't you think it was really great of me when I said, it was my fault, I should have checked it. And then I just ran out of the room and I thought, I can't look at your face. I can't stand to
see what I'm going to say next.
See you gloating.
But I think there's a there's a way to say it was my fault. You didn't go, oh, it was my fault. You went, oh, well, it was my fault then, and walked out the room. It's slightly different, isn't it? It's like, oh, well,
I'm working on it, Brian.
Piss off, and I'm going out.
On it.
Yeah, but that's what
I'm working on it. You've got to start somewhere.
Yeah, but then it's said in a tone where it's like, you're going to say it anyway, so I'll say it for you.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And I'm working on
it. I was never going to
say
it.
I did my best.
And it was just like, yeah.
I did my best.
So there we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go then.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me about the boat and this marketplace. I tell you what, I've got some stories to tell people about this.
I've never been on Facebook, but having to sell something, and because I don't have my real name on Facebook because I had to join.
That's wise.
And I just used my first name and my middle name. What a brilliant thing, So
I wonder if anyone else has thought of that.
just to sell something.
Yeah,
And it was just like, so you go on Facebook Marketplace.
First of all, what are you selling?
I'm selling my boat.
Right.
It's a Bonito boat. It's a 1988 Bonito boat. They're a New Zealand company made for New Zealand waters. And the engine is 1988 as well. And so I think we talked about it. I'm selling my boat. We did
we did that on the last podcast.
Was it the podcast?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, well, we go at the end
and
and
you
I'm on
did
the boat.
Little diary thing. Yeah,
that's right. At the end. Yeah. And anyway, I sold the boat eventually, but it's so stressful to sell something like an old boat because the two guys who came around to look at it.
Hang on.
God.
You're jumping ahead.
Well, all right, I've got to go back to Facebook first.
You've got to go back to the guy that wound you up saying, I'm going to come with my wife. Well, I'm taking the day off.
The first guy has literally been on 6 hours and it's like, oh, I'm really interested in the boat. I want to buy the boat. This guy lived up in the Manawatu, which is, I think, not the Manawatu, the other way around. It was up at the north of the North Island in New Zealand, north of Auckland, as they call it. He said, I'm going to be leaving tomorrow on Saturday and come down. Sorry, this was the Thursday, and he said, I'm going to leave on the Saturday. So I contacted him on the Friday. We'd agreed a price and everything, and I said to him, what time are you going to be here tomorrow? No reply, so I'm just thinking, all right. So I contacted him first thing on the Saturday morning, and he goes, about an hour later, my partner's finishing at 12 o'clock, but she's already said to me that she's not, she doesn't want to put the money up for her side of it, so I can't buy the boat. So all that time, like 48 hours, of thinking someone's coming to buy it, someone's coming to get it. And then the same thing happened the following week with a different guy from the south of the North Island. And
well, before you go on to that, I think it's important to say as well, you've got to remember just to fill in what happened. It wasn't just a case, and then the same thing happened. Every time someone says, I'm coming to see your boat tomorrow, mate. I'm coming up from the North Island. I'm coming down from the south, and wherever they're coming from, all over the country. You then, quite rightly, because this is what we do when we sell stuff, go outside, you've got your polish, you're flipping your rags, you're cleaning, you were down there drenched in sweat, you're on your hands and knees, you're cleaning this trailer, you're doing little videos for people in case they want to see what's underneath the trailer.
Starting the engine, all that stuff.
And you were really, really tense.
Plus, there's about 15 people that were interested who would message you and saying, "Is the boat available?" He's like, "Yeah, there's a guy coming tomorrow, but I'll let you know. And
is it fair to say you were tense?
Yes, very tense.
Yeah. Why?
Yes. Because it's been sitting on the driveway, taking up space, and it's just like we don't use it. And it got to the point where I thought, do you know what? I just want to take it on the scrapyard and throw it in the bin. Sort of thing, and someone else can just have it for free because I can't be bothered doing anything to it. And then I cleaned it, and I'm like, actually, it's not a bad boat at all. This, I got the engine going, did all the stuff with what I said I was done with the trim and this, that, and the other. As in, it's like now I can sell it, and I don't know. It just becomes to the point where you then rely on that you're going to get some money for it, and all these people are interested, and it's just because it's so old. You just want to sell it now because it's working now, and it could blow up tomorrow, sort of thing. And that's the tenseness of it, because it's not like it's only 2 years old and it's going to run for another 10 years. This thing's 30 odd years old, 40 years old nearly.
So the guy in the Northlands drops out on you. I'm not coming. You've been cleaning it, and then another guy contacts you from the south, down the south. We won't say where he's from, but from down the country. And he says, I'm going to come and see it. And you're like, okay, right. And in the meantime, message ping, 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 ping constantly on your messages.
It was, wasn't it? It was just
messaging you saying, will you take 5? Will you take 4? What's your best offer? And you were just you were getting yourself all stressed out. No, you were.
I was.
You were getting yourself all stressed out. By the way, in a minute, I want to talk, after we've done this, I want to talk about how it's been for you, with me taking the load off you, because I forgot that we talked about that.
Yes, we did talk about that. Yep.
So we will talk about that as well. I haven't forgotten. So now here we are. You are waiting for this guy to turn up on Friday morning. We're in a cafe, working in town, working on some stuff on Thursday. Tell me what happens then. What did you say to me? You said, Liz, come here a minute. And I came over and you said, he's not coming.
Yeah, well, that's it. Because after the last guy, I thought, well, I'm going to contact him and say, just check in, whatever his name was, and are you still coming tomorrow? Oh, I've been meaning to message you all day. relief driver is not working for me, so I can't make it. And I'm like, so you're going to come over the weekend? No, because I've got 4 kids and it's too hard to arrange. In other words, and I said, well, I just sent them a screenshot. I've got all these people interested. Do you want me to just sell it to them instead then? Because I've been holding back for you because you've taken a day off to come down and buy it, like, you know? And he just goes, yep. You just think, all right, see ya.
See, when you told me you did that,
yeah,
I've got to be honest with you. When you showed me, you said, look, I've sent him this screenshot and I've just said, I've got all these. I thought that was a bit much.
Well, why is it?
Because it was a bit personal.
Yeah, I was holding for him and, you know, not answering other people because it's rude. Just let me know. If you don't want it, it's no big deal. Don't buy it. But don't turn around and say you've known all day that your relief driver can't, you know, work for you tomorrow and you were taking a day off. It's just like, no, it's rude.
Well, when you told me that, and you said he had 4 kids, and I'm like, well, you know, fair enough.
Yeah.
He's got 4 kids. He can't get time off work. He can't get a relief driver. What's the problem? Just sell it to someone else.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You were just really, you just seemed to be on a different kind of plane. Like you were really, really tense about the whole thing. And I kept trying to say to you, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
if the worst comes to the worst, we won't sell it.
Yeah,
I mean, what we're
and
looking at, like $5.5 grand, $6 grand, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like the end of the world. It's not like you're selling a house for
no, it's not
£500,000 or dollars that it really everything relies on this. I mean, don't get me wrong.
But it's one of those things that I was ready to, you know,
let go of.
Yeah, let go of.
Yeah.
And you've been told that I'm coming on Friday and I'm going to be buying it, like, you know, and he doesn't turn up.
Yeah.
That side of it is just, you know, let's take it off. And, you know, he said in his previous messages, can you take it off that it's sold? And you just think, oh, come on. Yeah.
People just don't seem to. This is what the thing about Facebook Marketplace that I found.
Yeah.
It's like they send you a message and they say things like still available ?
Yeah.
Not hello. They can see your name on the profile.
Yeah.
I've sold
Do you
things
know why
on
that
there,
is? Because Facebook has got those
I know, yeah.
messages that
course,
it says,
yeah.
and that's one. Is this still available?
I know it is.
And it's just like,
but even so,
not, hello, Brian.
I know.
Yeah.
Even so, I know about the you know the standard messages and stuff, but you can add to those.
Yeah.
You can, you know, it's like when we were house swapping. They also have pre-made messages on house swapping that just says, sorry, thank you for your interest. This house is no longer available.
Yeah.
And you think, I'm not going to send that because it's just too short. It's too rude. It's too impersonal. And I think that's what was getting you was that all these messages that were coming through, and none of them were nice. None of them were personal. They were just all very direct, weren't they?
Yeah. And see, so, and plus as well, you're holding people off. And the story expands a little bit that I was using TradeMe as well to sell the boat. And it's a different type of people that you get on TradeMe than what you do on Marketplace. And literally why I just sent that message is I then checked my emails and there was a message from Marketplace. TradeMe, sorry. That turned around and the guy says, can I come I live in Spotswood, which is about 8k away.
Bliss.
Yeah, 8 kilometres, sort of 5 miles away. And he just said, can I come see boat? Literally, that's what he said. And so straight away I go, yeah, when would you like to see it? I'd like to see it now. And that's the sort of people that you want to then deal with. It's like, well, I'm in town at the moment. I'm going to be back after 5. I'll see you at 5. And that's how quick it was going. Almost like, you know, we were just, and he's like, what's your address? And I said, well, I don't want to put it on here. And he put his phone number up. And so I could privately message him, like, you know, direct message him as such. And he turned up at 5 o'clock. The difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this
stressy,
is what
though.
It was stressy. But this is what I was trying to say to you is don't I know it's really, really hard, but don't worry, don't get yourself into an emotional state like that, because it'll either sell or it won't, and it's going to sell to the right person. And that guy that couldn't come because of his kids, that's because he couldn't come and the boat wasn't for him. But you couldn't
but
seem
just let me know.
I know.
I don't care.
But
if
he
it's
did
not
let you know. He said, I can't come. I've got kids.
I had to contact him first.
Oh, I know. But
do you know what I mean?
That's the joys of selling.
I know.
So the guys turn up to see the boat.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the story?
Well, you were hiding in the bathroom with the window open so you could hear what was going on.
No, that was the next day I did that.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So the guys turn up and they like the boat.
So the guys turn up, we want the boat, and it's now Thursday night, isn't it?
Mm.
And he said, can we take it out for us, to try it on the lake? And I'm like, yeah, we can do. He said, well, I can come tomorrow. And I said, yeah, but, are you going to offer some money? And he's like, yeah, well, what I've got is I've got 4,700, but I'm 1,500 short. And he said, how about if you were to finance me that and I'll pay you $200 a week? And it was after what I'd just gone through, it was like, well, that's not a bad idea, is it? Like, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever it is. And I sort of said yes. And said, okay, come back tomorrow and we'll take you down to the lake on the Friday morning. I came back in to see you, and...
You came back in to see me. For a start, I need to make it clear that you didn't look happy.
No, I wasn't.
And I know that you said afterwards, oh, that's because I was worried about, I knew what you were going to say and all that.
Yeah.
Because we did have a bit of a cross words about this afterwards.
Yeah.
But the reason I said... don't do that, because you came in and you said they want to take it out to the lake tomorrow, they're going to pay me this, and then they're going to give us this money every week for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And the reason I said, no, don't take that, I said, no, don't do that. And you're like, why? And I said, because, and this is the reason, because I have seen you so stressed over this boat the last few weeks.
Yeah. It's not overly stressed,
no, Brian,
but it's on your mind.
It's
on your mind.
Okay, well, on your mind
it's
then.
not like I'm stressed out
No,
about stuff.
all right.
I don't really get overly stressed.
Right, well, that's the wrong word then. It's been consuming you.
Consuming you is a different thing, yeah.
Okay,
yeah, because
it's been
you're constantly
consuming
thinking, oh, got to fix that, do that. Just anything down to the bloody navigation lights not working properly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And the thing with you is, like you said to me afterwards, you want it to be right. You're not a con artist.
I don't, yeah.
You're not selling a piece of junk.
No.
And so everything that was wrong with that boat, you fixed. And like you said to me, oh, that needs doing. And the stickers need putting on because it doesn't look right. And I could see it was all consuming. Well, at the moment, when we tell people next week, whenever we're going to tell them what we're actually doing and what's going on in our life, this will all make sense. Because you don't need to be all consumed by something that's, yes, it's a boat and it's going to give us $5,500 or whatever when we sell it. Or how much do we sell it for in the end? 5,500.
6,300.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, that's not to be sniffed at, but it's not worth your health. It's not worth you being all consumed. So when you told me that, the reason I said, no, don't do it. I said, no, if they want it, they pay up front. They give you the money up front because I didn't want to see you for the next 6 weeks going, hi, mate, has that payment come through? And then, oh, no, mate, there's a bit of a knocking noise, or, oh, you didn't tell us about that, or, we haven't got the money this week. Can we give you double next week? It just keeps going on, and that would just keep consuming you. And that's the reason I said to you, no, Brian.
And you were right. You were 100% right. But at the time, because you just kind of said, yeah, it's better than, I just can't be bothered with any more people wanting to turn up and see it and view it. Because it takes a lot of time. Because here's the thing, when someone turns up, you've got to start the engine. So you've got to put what they call the muffs on. You've got to put the hose pipe on so it's water cooled. So, there's water flying everywhere. It's really noisy, and because there's no exhaust on a boat because it's underwater, so you don't really hear any noise. So you got to rev this thing up from cold. It's a 2-stroke. There's oil flying everywhere. It's just like, and the other sort of thing that they were saying as well is like, can we do a compression test on the motor? And I'm like, hello, when do you ever go to buy a car and do a compression test on it? But you just go, yeah, all right, and we'll do that before we go out on the lake, eh? So it's all those things that are knotting you up, and then you just think, do you know what? If we're going to go to all that bother, you can have it for that price then. Yeah.
So we had this conversation, and we said, no, I said, I wouldn't. Don't sell it to them. I don't think so, unless they've got the money up front. And you said to me, they really, really like it. And I said, well, if they really, really like it, they'll find the money. You don't go and buy a house that's 300,000 and go, well, I've got 200 and I'll give you 100. You just don't. You've either got the money or you haven't. Do you want it or not?
Yeah.
So you phoned them up, didn't you?
I phoned them up and said, hey, listen, I'm not. It doesn't sit very well with me. This, I'm not. I just want a clean break with it. So I'm not going to do what we said. So it's either that price or I'll sell it to someone else because there's a lot of interest on it at the moment. And he said, all right, leave it with me. And unknown to me, because I'd after that, it's like, right, I'm having dinner now. And it was probably about 7:00 at night. Plugged the phone into the charger and I never bothered looking at the phone again.
Time to get sloshed.
Yeah, it is. Time to get drunk. Have some food, get drunk, drink and be merry. Yeah. And So unknown to me, and then you're saying to me, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Well, I just don't feel great because I said yes, and then now I've said no, so now I feel a bit shitty, like because
No, that was before we had dinner. Stop going back.
No, but I'm just saying. So those things are playing on your mind.
Yeah.
And even when you go to bed, your mind's racing, thinking, "Well, why didn't I just stick with what I was doing? I could have sold it by now, and then I don't have to think about this stupid boat anymore now because it's turned into a stupid boat now, not my little lovely boat that it was." And anyway, cut a long story short, wake up in the morning, go to my phone, and unknown to me, he'd text me at 8:30 at night saying, "I've got the money."
Oh, that could have changed our night.
I know, we could have had a much better night.
We could have got the champagne out.
I'm just so glad I don't check my phone, but that night would have been a good night to check your phone, Brian.
Clever clogs.
Yeah. And that's because even at 7:00, my notifications turn off, and I'm not even notified on my stupid Apple Watch that you don't like. So I don't know these things are coming through unless it's from someone in my favourites, and he wasn't in my favourites. Yeah, you're in my favourites, so you can text me. I should
bloody well think so.
Yeah, and I'll come through on my silly watch then. Yeah. So anyway, I texted him in the morning. I said, "Oh, so you still want to come out this morning on the lake?" And he said, "Oh no, I'm going to work now. So can we do it Saturday morning instead? But we still want to do that compression test." And I'm like, "Okay."
Why were you dodgy about the compression test?
Well, there's 4 cylinders and you've got to do a compression test. So if there's low compression on one of the cylinders, it means the rings are a little bit loose or not quite, up to it. And it's a 1988 motor, so you can work it out. Was it 38 years old or whatever it is, 37 years old?
It's horrible because unless you're selling something brand spanking new,
yeah.
I mean, whatever you sell, it's not like it's junk. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, you're always worried that when you sell it, it's just going to go pop or...
Yeah.
Like we always laugh about, your brother trying to sell a car and the guy came out to look at it and he went to open the door and the handle of the car fell off in his hand.
Bit of rust on this one, mate.
That's your biggest fear, isn't it? So you were probably just thinking about the compression test. That was on your mind.
Yeah.
Can I just say before we move on, I do think it's important to say it's a testament to your nature.
Yeah.
You are a man of your word. I know that.
Yeah,
and I know
I
could when we had that to do, that bit of an argument, and you were like, I'm not the sort of person that shakes on something and agrees on something and then goes back on it. And I could understand that.
Yeah.
I just wish you'd come into me. I wish you'd said before, and you don't want to be like, I've just got to go and check with my wife. But I wish.
Yeah, I should have come in just because it's not even so much. It's just you need some advice at the time, and you're on your. There's 2 guys there.
Did you feel intimidated?
Oh, they were big boys,
I
weren't
know
they?
They were.
I looked
out the window.
6'6" each, and I'm like both looking up at them, both brothers.
You look like a little Pinocchio standing next to those 2.
Just like, all right, lads. Thanks. Yeah. I didn't have any strings, did I? Because I can walk now. I'm boy.
I'm only joking. Right, go on.
Right.
So what happened the next morning?
So next morning,
when you go out in the lake,
so they turn up. First off, at the house, they come up to the house, and I said, "Listen, you're going to tow it on your car." I said, "So you know what it's like to because it was a heavy boat."
Kiwi guys, weren't they, Brian?
They were.
See the size of their calves.
Yeah,
they were huge.
They were big boys, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
He was a plumber, actually, one of them. So anyway,
even worse, tradies.
And I kind of recognised him from years gone by. Anyway, so they turn up, and they go, "Oh, can we do the compression test then?" And you think, "Oh, I think." Yeah. I said, we'll have to warm it up first. Like, you can't do a cold compression test. I said, because it's too much on the battery, So I put the muffs on, put the hose pipe on, start it up, get it nice and warm. And there's a little telltale that comes off a motor, and it's like, how warm's that now? And I'm standing in the boat, and he's like, oh, it's not that warm. I said, it'll be warm enough now. Then, after about 5 minutes of running, smoke all over the place. And waking up the neighbours at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was so noisy. Did they know much about boats, these guys?
Do you know what? They've had little boats.
Right,
They've had what they call
They're 2 brothers, aren't
what they call a tinny, which is like a little aluminium flat, like a little dinghy boat type thing. And then, they can go out fishing on that, little 15 horsepower on the back. But never had not into bigger boating. Not saying this is a big boat. It's a 16-foot boat.
Go back to our last video or podcast and see it if you want to see it, because Brian did a video.
But it's like, it's got a little cabin on it and things like that. It's not a big boat.
So there they are. They've done the compression test. You've worked the neighbours.
Well, that's the thing is like they're doing the compression test and I'm like, the gauge is buggered on the compression thing. It's just like going on for so long.
Yeah.
And then, number 4 is only at 70 PSI and the other ones are over 100, and I'm like, I said, it's an old engine, but I tell you what, mate, it's got loads of power. And I said, it's a 2-stroke. I said, you're never going to get great compression on most of the 2-strokes. They don't have valves. They just have ports. I said, so, when it's running, it's going to run. And it's a good engine.
Did you just want to cry?
Yeah, I'm just like, but you know what? So we get all the spark plugs back in, and silly enough, I let them put all the stuff back and then put the stuff on it, and because I'm getting ready for it to be towed away, tying everything down, making sure everything's okay. And so they hook it up onto the thing. We check all the lights, and everything's working. And off we go to the lake. We stop at the petrol station. I stick $40 of fuel in so we can run it, And we get to the lake.
$40? Didn't tell me that.
Yeah, $40. Well, it's like, I just want to, make sure everything's going to be smooth. And I forgot my credit card or this, like that. And I left my phone at home.
And I couldn't believe that when you left, and I saw your phone sitting there, and I thought,
yeah,
that's going to be tough.
Just notch the stress up a little bit more, just in case something happens.
Good job you didn't
the
break
boat's
down.
fallen off. Oh, let's call someone. I can't.
That just goes to show your mindset, though.
I know.
The state of your mind.
Yeah, but that's because I came in and I thought, we haven't got the key to open the petrol. Not the petrol. It's like a slot, and you just put like a piece of metal in there and turn it. And I thought, I've got to go and get the key or something like a chisel or something I can open it with, or a big flat blade screwdriver. And I'd left my phone in the garage, closed the garage door down, and just went straight to the car because they were ready to go. Anyway, cut a long story short, we get to the lake. It's absolutely packed, full of campers, full of weekenders with jet skis. And
what time was this on a Saturday
morning?
This is
like 10 o'clock by the time we got there, and it was just like there was a queue to get on the boat ramp. And this is when you start to realise these guys have never put a boat in before. Only like a little handheld trailer or something, or whatever it is. And it's just a small boat and not a bigger boat like this, because he was starting to reverse down the...
So was he towing the boat?
Yes, he was.
And you were just following him in your car behind?
Yeah. And one of the brothers is reversing down. The other one's standing next to me. And I said, just tell him to stop, because we've got to put the screw bung in at the back, which just stops the water coming in and drains it out afterwards. And you've got a rope over the back, which stops the boat from bouncing up and down. And you just think, let's take this off. Let's get it ready for going on, because normally you're with someone who knows what you're doing. And I thought they would know what to do, but there's me now. You're doing everything, and then I just look at the hitch or the winch, and there's about 3 inches of gap so the boat's slid back on the trailer while they've been towing it, because I'd unwound the hitch. And then wound it back up with you. You wound it back up for me. But when you do that, it's not enough tension on it. So when you put it back on the boat, it the wire pulls into itself and it moved back. But luckily, I put a safety chain on, which you have to have. And the little shackle on it was bent because it had pulled the boat back that far, And I'm trying with my fingers to open the shackle to get it off, And I was trying to wind the boat back up. And I thought, don't do that, because you can't wind that boat on when it's out the water, because it's too heavy. And the winch was just winding into itself. And I thought, I'm going to pull the bloody thing off the front, just that's how it started off.
Just let me just pause you, because I just want to tell people who are listening to this about the lake in New Plymouth.
Yeah, it's a tiny lake,
it's not tiny.
It's not big, but
it's a day tripper's lake. People go there, they buzz around on there. It's right by the coast
and everything. Yeah.
There's a big car park, and people go there on their jet skis, in their campers. And we always used to dread going down there as a family, because what people do, because there's nothing else to look at, they watch the people backing the boat into the lake. It's the only form of entertainment, and hopefully they'll get it wrong, and then you can sit and laugh at them, how rubbish they are at putting the lake in. So I just want to build that pressure up for you, because that's what it was like every single time. So when you say you went down there and it was packed, that makes my stomach just clench, because I just think, oh my God, I bet you were just hoping there was going to be no one there.
Yeah, there was. And there was a big family there with a big, it's like a bit windy, eh? I let the wind drop. They had a big boat, and a guy jumps off this boat, runs over to us and go, I've seen this one on Marketplace. And, he's just like, and he said, what's it on for again, this one? I said, that's 6,700, mate. And he goes, all right. And I said, what, you've got a boat? I just bought that one. I said, what would you pay for that? 3. And I thought, no, you didn't.
Did he say that in front of the guys?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And it's like, you're looking at it, it's bigger than my boat. It was an ugly looking boat because it's like a working boat, and it had almost a brand new engine on the back, which is about 10 or 15,000. It's just like, you didn't pay 3,000 for that.
Why is he there?
I know.
Why is he there saying he saw your boat on Marketplace?
And you just think, just notch up a bit more stress on that one.
Of course it would, yeah, because what you want him to say is, don't tell me it's gone. I really wanted to buy this.
It's almost like looking at it, look what you could have got. You could have got that one for 3, mate.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, really? And not only that.
You should have said, sod off.
The brothers kind of knew him.
Did they?
You just
they were
think,
friends.
oh, geez, yeah. Obviously lived in the same area or something like,
They're Kiwi, you're British.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You felt a little bit out your depth.
No, that's it. Well, I was out my depth.
Yeah.
I only had my little shorts on, my flip-flops.
Your wife's not here to tell you what to do.
No phone. Alone. At the lake.
Alone in the lake. So go on, what happened?
Anyway, so I now am on the boat, and so I put, you always get a rope on it when you push it off the trailer, so someone can hold it and then just put it, to the side before you get the engine running, because it's a shallow runway that goes in. So I drop the engine in, pump the fuel up, and that's another thing. Sometimes you pump the fuel and it would you just feel the little one-way valve go psst, and it would there's no pressure on the little bulb that you push to prime the fuel. Anyway, I got that, and it's like, oh yeah, it's nice and firm now. And I think, yep, and drop it in, starts first time, great, and I pull it over to the little jetty. One of the brothers jumps in. I said, is your brother going to come in? And he went, he's just on the phone at the moment. And I just thought, oh, all right.
Andy.
So, and he was supposed to be the one who was really interested in buying it. And the other brother's a bit like, he was the one who was doing all the compression tests and everything, as if like, I'm going to check everything here,
Savvy, there's always one savvy.
There's always one savvy, yeah. So anyway, he jumps in. I said, just a few things. I said, have you ever done boating before? He went, no, not like this. I said, do you know anything about a power trim and where it should be and everything like that? No. I said, all right, because do you want to drive? I thought, no. He said, I'm watching you, what are you doing?
Oh, God.
So I showed him the cold start, do this, push it in, turn it, and it'll start up, I said, and just a few things you've got to check, this, that, and the other. I said, but the trim, I said, yeah, like you hear it going down, it's like, and then it goes at the end as it comes to its stop. I said, now that's all the way down. As we've backed out now away from the jetty and everything. And so here we go. We're going to give it full belly and we'll be up on the plane as quick as we can, So bump, and the boat just goes woomph, shoots out the water, and gets up on the plane. And before you know it, we're doing 40 mile an hour, whizzing around this lake. And I'm absolutely hammering it, and I'm trimming it up and getting a bit of a rooster tail on the go.
It's looking good.
And it's a lovely sounding engine, because it's a V4.
Worth the money.
And it just sounds great. And he's looking at me because I'm turning it, and it's really hard to turn that boat because it hasn't got power steering. But there I am, struggling, hanging onto the wheel, turning it around. Yes, you need to be. I've got no strings to hold me up.
To hold me down, not hold me up.
Oh, whatever it is. Anyway, yeah. No, hold me up.
No, I've got no strings to hold me down. Yes.
It's hold me up.
No, it isn't.
It is, because he's pulling him up. He's a puppet, don't forget. Anyway, I might be wrong. You're better at the lyrics than me normally.
Oh, you got me thinking now. You made me doubt myself. No, I've got no strings to hold me down. No strings
he's not
me
tied down.
up.
He's not into bondage, is he?
No, it's not up. Anyway, go on, carry on.
Anyway.
So you're there, strong, you're turning the wheel.
I'm turning the wheel,
bouncing
good. Over it, and I'm like, I said, showing him how the trim works. And I said, once you get going, I said, you lift the trim up, you'll go even faster. You get another 5 mile an hour out of it. It's all in miles an hour on the boat, because it's an American engine. And anyway, so I take it down, drop it off the plane, and like, and then, right, so this is how you do start. You really push the lever forward, get all the power into the engine to get you up. And so don't sit there labouring, I said, because you'll just end up using more fuel. You just want to get it up on the plane and then on away. So it goes to do it again, and it's just like, just hardly any power.
Oh.
It's just like, you just like instantly your head prickles and you think, what could it be? I'm just thinking, I've just lost, 30% of my power. So I'm thinking straight away, right, one of the cylinders is not firing. And you're thinking,
what was he doing?
Low compression one, eh?
What was he doing when all that happened?
He's just staring at me.
Was he?
It was just like,
pressure.
Just someone's looking at you and you think, well, no one's going to do anything here other than me. All right, because it's my boat still, and so I lift I'm thinking it's either fuel starvation, because it didn't sound like it was missing. It just was a lack of power. So you think straight away fuel or ignition. What is normally that? Just go for the simple things. It's not like, the cylinder head's blown off or something like, or something's really bad has happened. You'd hear something if it was mechanical because it would sound wrong, and it didn't. It just sounded very low on power. So there I am. I lift the floorboard up, as whatever you want to call it, to look into the bilge where the fuel filter is, and I'm looking to see if there's any crap in there, because we've been bouncing over waves and stuff, and I thought it might be a bit of shit's gone in there and blocked up the fuel, something like that. I couldn't see; it was all clear because it's a glass bowl at the bottom, because there's a little drain plug on it, which I have had to do that before when we went out in the sea. It wasn't that. Checked the fuel, and I thought, you guys had the cover off, didn't you? And you had all the.
It's their fault.
No, well, that's what I'm saying.
Blame.
It's not blame.
Yes.
But I'm going through my mind thinking, what could it be?
Yeah.
So I whipped the cover off the engine, and we're in the middle of the lake, and matey boy with the $3,000 boat's just standing there
Cocky
looking
ass,
at me like,
yeah.
it's like, I feel like just giving him the finger.
Yeah.
And just like, And anyway, I'd take all the leads off, push them all back on, make sure they're all on properly. Put the cover back on, because obviously you don't want to drive around with the cover up, and go and hit the throttle again, and it comes back to full power. And you just think, great. Thank you, Lord.
Yes.
You really do, and you just think, fantastic. I'm up and on the plane again.
Yeah.
So now, matey boy, it's your turn, as in you need to have a drive of it now. And you're like, well, it's like, you're buying a boat. You need to drive it,
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll show you how to get it up on the plane quickly. And he starts it slowly and pushes it as if he's driving Miss Daisy, it's like, no, it's a boat, mate. Get it up
but
on
he
the
wouldn't
plane.
know if he wasn't used to driving boats.
Because he's just thinking, take it easy.
Doesn't want to break it.
No, he doesn't want to break it. And so he gets it up on the plane, and he's turning around, and I'm like, you can give it all welly, so he gives it a little bit more, and I think, it sounds like now it's not got the power again. I said, it's like, no, look, it can go like that, but he wasn't giving
So when
it
you're doing this,
oomph.
people can't see what you're doing. So what
I'm pushing the throttle. It's a hand throttle which sits up sort of about your chest height to your right hand side, and you have a lever underneath. You click it, and then you push it forward.
And was he not doing
click
that?
it or push it back for reverse? No, he just wasn't giving it the oomph that I was giving, because he wasn't confident. First time he was driving a boat like that, And he says it's quite hard to turn, isn't it? I thought, big boy. Yeah, it is hard to turn. You need to be strong.
Oh, it's very windy. Will this be okay?
Yeah.
Will it?
Yeah, it should be. It's probably coming through our headphones.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry if there's a bit of wind there, but yeah, he was a big, strong boy anyway. So we get back over to the dock, and he just said, I just want to check reverse, make sure reverse works. And it's like, well, you saw me reverse out before, but yeah, far away. And he clicks it into reverse, and he pulls it back, and obviously it works. And then he pulls it now up to the jetty, and again, there's me thinking, doesn't know what. He knows what he's doing, and we get it to the jetty, and the motor clangs into the slipway, because he hasn't trimmed the engine up, to lift it up out of the water, And luckily, there's a big fin at the bottom of it, but it's not the point. It's go, and I'm like, lift the engine up, mate. So I'm fly over and grab hold of the trim and lift it up, And then it's like, okay, we'll get the boat in, get the trailer in. And so he's sitting. The other brother reverses the boat down, and normally you've got help getting the boat onto but they're both just standing there looking at me, and I'm in the boat, and I'm like, and there's a side wind, and it's very hard if someone hasn't got the front of the boat, or because the back of the boat just wants to drift to the side. And he said, God, can you drive it up onto the trailer? And I'm like, God, I haven't put it on the trailer for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Last time was when my brother was here in 2022, and so I'm there, I'm trying to click into reverse, and you've got a full lock on the right-hand side, and it's just drifting slowly to the left, and
anyone watching?
Yeah, everyone's watching. There's a woman standing there with her hands on her hips.
Yeah, you told me. What did she say? Hurry up.
Can you hurry up, please? Because we've been waiting 5 minutes for you now. Are you cheeky, grumpy bugger,
Old bag.
Yeah, you're old. Yeah, anyway, the same age as me.
You cheeky non-Pinocchio old bag.
So I'm trying to get it up onto the thing, and they're just looking at me. So I get the nose in, but then the back end's just moving out to the side. So I just literally, I said, hook it on, will you? And looked over the edge and jumped off and stood on the wheel arch of the trailer, and then up to me waist and chest in the water to pull the boat round at the back line, because he put The trailer was a bit too far in, like, so it wasn't hitting the rollers.
You were up to your chest in water?
Yeah.
That's a good job you didn't have your phone in your pocket,
I know,
wasn't it?
yeah. It was supposed to be a bit waterproof. Anyway, so I said, right, get it wound up. So he winds it up and we get it into the right place and he starts to pull it out. And I said, listen, just pull up halfway up the ramp and we'll take the bung out the back, like, I said, because there's a bit of water with me jumping in and everything, from getting the boat in there in the first place. And all the water comes out the back and the other brother goes, there's a lot of water. And I went, well, it's probably only about 3 or 4 litres, mate. I said, but it's probably just coming off my feet and everything. And I said,
just had a wee.
Maybe the bung wasn't in properly. But he's like, oh, it looks like it's got a leak. It's the same colour of water as the lake. And I'm like, I said, it would have been sitting under the fuel tank. I said, because the first time when you power it, I said, there's little ribs underneath. And I said, they've all come out. I said, but towing it's not going to do that, like, because it's almost like so level when you're towing it. So it's different when you go up and the boat rises up and everything. Anyway, I just said, listen, there's not a leak on this hull. I said, I've taken my family out and everything. Like, I said, there's no cracks, there's no leaks.
No, it's a good boat.
Anyway, the woman's going, can you hurry up, please?
Oh.
It's been 8 minutes now. And I'm like, well, that's what you do on the slipway.
You should have got the bung and just walked over to her and stuffed it in her mouth.
I should have done, yeah.
So here, hold that.
Yeah. But, you're just like, is there anything else you can drag this out longer?
Yeah.
So we pull it up into the car park and he goes, oh, I want to put it back in the water.
Oh my God.
And I went, what? And he goes, yeah. And I said, listen, there's no leak. I said, right, let's tie the boat on the back. I said, so the boat is right on the trailer. I said, we'll drive it in as deep as we can on the trailer. I said, and then you can stand with me at the back and watch any water come in. And nothing came in.
No. Of course it didn't.
Yeah. So we pull it back out and he pulls it back up to the same place. I'm like, all right. I said, what now? I said, what's up? And he went, oh, I want to go and put it in the sea.
Reminds me of that comedy sketch, the British one. I like that one.
I want that one.
That one.
I want that one. And you just think, what? Do you know what? It's like, it's a $6,300 boat. It's not, it's not brand new,
No,
mate.
it's not like a super
it's 30
yacht.
years old.
But
40 years old nearly.
In saying that,
What?
I can understand $6,000 is a lot of money.
I know.
£3,000, whatever, I don't know how many US dollars that would be. 4,000 US dollars, is it?
Well, whatever it is.
Probably. Anyway, but it's still a lot of money.
It's still a lot of money. I totally understand. It's a lot of, it's like I said to him, I said, listen, mate, it's a good boat. I said, for the money, it's great value. I said, I can't say more than that. I said, I'm not out to rip you off. I said, you don't have to buy it.
No.
I said, there's loads of people who are interested in it.
Please buy it.
That matey over the way there with a $3,000 boat, wish he'd bought this one because he did have trouble with that one in the end.
Yeah, well.
Couldn't get the trim down.
No.
Yeah, anyway. I did go and help him, so I was nice.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You gave up all your time on Saturday morning.
Yeah, so it's all Saturday morning. I just said to him, listen, mate, I'm not going in the sea. I said, I haven't got time. I said, we've been here now nearly, it's 3 hours since, it's probably gone 11:15. I said, so you've had 2.5, 3 hours off me. I said, I'm not going down in the sea. I said, be another hour or so. You have to go and put some more fuel in it and all that sort of stuff. So I said, what do you want to do? And he said, yeah, we want, we'll head up back to your place. He didn't really say, I want it, And I'm like, okay, right. So I said, I'll follow you. I said, because, the trailer it hasn't got its warrant of fitness on it. So, because I haven't used it for 3 years. So we're driving away and we're going over the speed humps and the boat's bouncing all over the place and he hits his brakes and I'm looking at the lights. Oh, lights are all working. So we carry on another 2 or 3 minutes and come to the next intersection where we're turning right. Left-hand brake light not coming on. You just think, it's been in the frigging water, hasn't it? And it's obviously got water in the LEDs. And you just think, there's a pile of shit, those LED trailer lights. Supposed to be waterproof, obviously not. And, you just think, there's just 2 little LEDs coming on, all of them. You just think, they're brand new.
What else could go?
What else can go wrong now? So now we're driving now back through town and then they just indicate to go into the petrol station. I thought, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
And not only that, you're just thinking, are they going to want to go to the sea? Are they going to go put more fuel in it? So I pull up on the outside of the petrol station, walk over to them because they're in a queue to get to the pumps. I said, what's up? And he goes, oh, we're just getting some fuel for the car. We're getting below on the car. And I'm like, oh,
take your
geez.
time.
All right, drag this out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And so
Get yourself a crunchy while you're there and a cup of tea.
So the other brother gets out, and I'm like, I'm back. I get back to the car, and I'm like, don't go to the back of the boat. And he goes to the back of the boat, and I'm like, you're going to see the friggin' light. That's not working. So. And then I just noticed, the orange bag isn't over the propeller, which is a legal thing in New Zealand. You've got to have it because it's more than a meter over the back of the end of the trailer. So I fly out and I just said, oi, you need to get that bag out of the inside the boat and put it over and he's like, oh, yeah. And he put it on and he tied it all up. And luckily he didn't see the dodgy trailer light. And anyway, while they're filling the car up, they both get out and they're both lying underneath the boat now, looking for cracks.
At the petrol station?
Yeah. You just think,
oh,
hello, what's going on? And then he goes in, pays for the fuel, walks back out, walks over to me, and I'm thought, oh, here we go.
Yeah, I'm not
buying it.
Mm.
You can hitch it up to yours now and you can take it home. And he winds it down and goes, just need to go to a cash machine. And you go, oh. Thank you, but again, how much longer are you going to drag this out on me, So we have to then drive to a supermarket on a Saturday morning, and then anyway, we spend about 10 minutes as he's waiting to get the money out, and then we come back up to the house.
$1 at a time, just coming out of the machine.
It's just like, it was just so stressy. I even looked on my Apple Watch, which is the watch that we hate, and my heart rate at something like 10:30 when the engine failed had spiked at about 140. And I'm just sitting there driving a boat. So I'm not, and it just shows you, doesn't it? It's like, oh my God, it's
not worth it.
It's not worth it. It really isn't, because the pressure is on, and that's about not losing your head when the pressure is on, and if you can still think straight, and I was, because I just methodically went, what could it be, Brian? It's not going to be hard. What is it? They took the leads off. Maybe they didn't put one back on properly and was going over the bouncing waves, or it's a bit of shit in the fuel that's, not being used for 3 years.
So you came back home, and did they buy it or not?
Yes, they did.
Right, okay. But he did say, didn't he? Because I was hiding
in
the bedroom.
Yeah.
I had the door open and I was hiding behind the curtain so I could still hear you out on the driveway, but I didn't want them to see me because I didn't want them to think, oh, there she is. Look, there's the old bag that said that we couldn't have payments.
Yeah.
And I heard you say to him, are you okay? And
yeah, because he still looked worried. And I said, yeah, is everything all right? And he was like, yeah. And he said, worst case scenario, I've seen, you can get tons of these engines for 90 horsepower engines for $6,000. Worst case scenario, $6,000 for a new engine, eh? And I thought, well, why didn't you say that down the lake?
Yeah.
Because I said to them, yeah, these boats with a new engine on them and a new trailer, I said, they're worth $20,000. I said, so it's a win-win, isn't it? Even if you spent $6,000 on that and a $3,000, the trailers are only $3,000.
He was just trying to justify the cost.
I know.
Because it's a lot of money.
Because it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like
and
I
it's
said to him,
secondhand.
we all work for our money. It's hard to save that sort of money. It is. It's like you can earn that money, but you can't save that money. So it's, if he's only can manage $200 a week, then you work out how long has it taken him to save $6,300.
I've never seen you so happy that when you came in that kitchen with your wad of money and you went, there you go, Liz, I've sold it. And him just driving away. Yeah. But you know what, Bri? When we cheers that night, we said to each other, it's a flipping good boat, and those brothers are going to have such happy memories with that boat. They will do, yeah. And even that night, you were worried, I hope they don't what if they take it out on the sea and that engine light comes on? But it's just... That's what comes of buying secondhand stuff. Yeah. Have we ever bought anything in our life secondhand and it not have something that you've had to fix?
There's always something, and you think that's why they wanted to sell it, because they didn't know that.
Yeah,
yeah. Or the air conditioning thing makes a funny noise. Yeah,
you are not a con artist. You're very, very honest, and that boat was fantastic.
Yeah, but it was so glad. For what it was. Like I say, I did enough to it. Put it that way.
So how did it feel? How did it feel when you sold it?
You honestly can't feel it because you're still reliving the moments that you've just gone through. You've just put yourself through a bunch of stuff. Like we were saying the other day, someone just turns up at your house and you think, who are you? What are you doing here? That sort of thing, isn't it? And you're just thinking these things. It's like, I never knew these guys, but we're just out in the middle of the lake and it's all going tits up. And he's just sitting there looking at me. And you just think, I don't know you from Adam, but you're not coming up with anything here, like,
Do you know
other
what?
than, has this ever happened before?
Hmm.
No, mate, it hasn't.
Do you know what, Brian? I'm a little bit worried about us.
Why?
Because we've said this now. We said, oh, there we are at home and 2 people are turning up to buy our boat.
Yeah.
We felt like we were being invaded. What did we say? We didn't say invaded. What, not traumatized. What did we say when we said...
Invading my space.
That's a bit worrying.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's not worrying,
It
no.
is, Brian.
It's just because we live up on the hill.
I know, but do you reckon it's
Yeah.
because we never see anyone and like... That's normal for someone to come to your house and buy your boat. That's like, that's
well,
not...
they have to, don't they?
But it's traumatized us.
I know.
And you've taken this on, you've consumed this for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just been horrible, hasn't it?
Do you know, but the best
It
part...
wasn't worth it.
The best part was going on to, Wastebuck Marketplace and taking the item off.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Withdrawing the item.
Mm.
Why are you withdrawing the item? Because I've sold it.
Yes.
Did you sell it on Wastebuck? No.
All right, Brian. We know you call it Wastebuck. You can stop calling it now.
I'm just saying.
Facebook. I know,
It's just, do you know what I mean? And it's just so nice to just think, yes, it got sold on another platform.
Yeah, and you've moved on.
Moved on.
Well, that was a great story. And I just wanted to find out before we go as well, like, how has it been this week, having the pressure taken off you so you can... You better say what I want you to say. Don't laugh like that.
I have to laugh because we go back to what we said. We were going to, right, let's edit the 4 videos.
Mm.
Yep. Which we did. And you've taken the pressure off to do that. It took us 2 days to edit those videos up with other things that we were doing. You have your mastermind group on the Wednesday. The Thursday we went into town to upload the videos. And so I'm thinking, okay, great. And all the stuff with the boat as well. And so Friday, right, I'll get some work done on the house. And you said, I'd like to record 2 videos today.
Yes, because Friday's our content day.
Yeah. So it didn't actually
Well, you
happen.
had all day Tuesday and all day Wednesday.
No.
No, you had all day
No, 'cause
Wednesday.
I was
you had
doing-
all day Wednesday and all day Thursday.
No, I didn't have all day Wednesday, but I had so many hours on Wednesday that I was doing something which we can tell you about in a few weeks.
So did you feel less pressure this week is what I'm saying? 'Cause if you
I did
didn't-
at first, but when you said, oh, let's do 2 videos, I was like, well, I'd rather, it's a nice day and I want to do something on the house, actually. And actually, we've got something to do on the boat before they come tomorrow.
Well,
So-
you were faffing with that boat, though.
I know. I literally 5 minutes before they turned up, I was fixing the nav lights. I did fix them in the end, but anyway, that's another story. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying, yes, that side of it was good that, yes, you took the pressure off me for the things, but we never got to do what we'd set out to do. Other than we made 2 videos and one of them was duff because the microphone wasn't turned on. So all in all.
It just feels like it's, I don't know, it just feels like, well, so wasn't it worth it then?
Yes, it was, but...
Because I took so much off you last week.
Yeah, you did. And you sat with me a lot while we were doing the editing because you obviously wanted to see bits that wanted to
Yeah, I was
be
just
taken
helping
out
you because
and
sometimes
stuff.
it's
Yeah.
easier to have two sets of eyes
Yeah,
on.
definitely. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because normally you'd be in the other room.
I'm not doing
and
it
I'd
again
come
this
in.
week
Yeah.
because there's no way I'm doing all that again this week. So
No.
you better
Okay.
pull your pants up.
Yeah. So I'll
Cut your
just back
strings
to the
off,
norm.
Giuseppe's strings off, and just get
that
yourself
hold me up.
pulled up and pull your pants up and get on with it. Is what I say.
Yeah.
Because that was last week, and this is now. I've lost patience, especially if I'm not going to get like gratitude for it and recognition.
No.
I won't bother.
Yes. Yeah. It's just the life of Brian, eh?
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you know what? Sometimes I feel like you're a bit of a self-pity party.
Oh,
You
no?
like to just sit.
Glad that you think that of me.
Oh, not really, but really, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like
How's it been for you this week then, Les?
It's-
Well, you've had some things going on this week. You've had to go to the doctors and had to go to have a mammogram and stuff.
I went for my mammogram this morning. All that has been fine. It's been such a relief because I went and I got my smear test done, I got my blood test done, which were all great, and I just got my mammogram done this morning, which obviously I don't know the results of that, but I just feel like you're on top of stuff when you get on top of your health and get it all, just, I don't want to go into everything here, but it's just, it plays on your mind all the time. Like, you know, like, is there something wrong? It makes you,
Of course it does.
you know, hyper aware when you lose people that you've got to keep on top of your health. And
it's very important. Yeah.
so I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of myself that I went through that checklist and gone, right, okay.
You did everything in that week, didn't you?
Yeah.
And arranged, you were supposed to do the mammogram on Friday, but we had to rearrange that, didn't we?
Yeah. So that's all done and all great. So yeah, it's been a good week. But like I say, I do feel like I've taken
well, you did
some off you.
You did take it off me because
I made the boiled eggs and soldiers on Wednesday.
Made some boiled eggs and soldiers.
I made our lunch. Yeah. And also, you know, I did a lot on the Slack stuff. I did a lot of admin. Yeah. But no, I just wanted to take it off you. And I'm only joking. I didn't do it because I wanted you to say, "Oh, Liz, you know, thank you so much." But I do. I just think
life got in the way this week with a lot of things, just for the fact that we did a lot this week. If you wrote it all down and still managed to get content out and still managed to do this and still managed to do that, we did rather well, I think, in the end. I really think we did.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So did you like doing the diary? Did you like, and also if you're listening, well, obviously you're listening to this because I'm not talking to no one. What? Maybe I am.
Yeah. Hello.
They're all gone.
Yeah.
Did you like the diary entry that we did?
Yes.
We'd like to hear about that, whether you liked it or not, whether you thought that was, you know, a nice piece of added extra bonus content. I liked doing it. It felt really weird for me to watch when we were editing. It felt weird for me to watch us both what we'd said,
because you weren't aware of what each of us were going to say.
But again, I don't want to comment on that. I don't want to linger on it. I just want that to be a private kind of. This is my diary entry of what I thought about this podcast, and that's it.
Mm. Yeah, and are we doing it on the end of this one?
Yeah.
Oh, are we?
Well, we will do. Yeah, we'll do it for a couple of times, and then if people like it, then we can keep it.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it?
Yep.
That doesn't sound convincing.
Yeah, no, I do. It's just,
Go on, what?
Well, I think you are a lot more emotional than me. I just tend to say what I thought was on my mind. Every time you do it, you go in quite deep, and I'm like, I always feel then guilty that I've not said enough.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh no,
it's not supposed to be that.
No, not at all. No,
right.
No.
Maybe it's just because you can talk more than me.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Even though I've talked a lot on this podcast.
Yeah, and also when I watched your video,
yesterday,
last week, when I watched your diary entry last week,
yeah,
it just came over to me that you are such a genuine, heartfelt speaker. You don't. I hope we both are, but we're very different. But isn't that
that's
the wonderful
the yin and
thing,
yang, isn't it?
Yeah. You just came over. You said one thing that stood out that you said, anyway, I don't want to take up any more of your time. And I just thought, oh, Brian, you're not taking up anyone's time. People want to hear from you. They want to hear what you've got to say. And it isn't about who's the most emotional or who's the best at getting. No, it isn't anything to do with that.
Yeah,
that is not what it's about. It's about
just that private word.
Yeah, just hearing from your private person. Just like, just as if someone just came in here now and said, how did it go, Liz? Or how did it go? But anyway, it doesn't. I'm not going to tell you what to say. It's not about that. It's just.
No, that's not the idea, is it? But I'm just saying,
it's not. It's not. And please don't think that you've got to go on there and go, oh, Liz, I really am grateful of what you did this week. It's not about that.
No.
And equally, I don't want to be, try not to be so emotional because.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's just what it is.
It is.
It is what it is. You are who you are, and people appreciate that. And that's the lovely thing about it, is as a couple, we are completely different to when we're on our own, aren't we? I think all couples are.
Well, you are. You're always, when you're by yourself, you're always going to be different. When you're with your mates, you're going to be different. When you're talking to your son, you're going to be different. You're going to be, it's anyone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a different face, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
A different persona that you put out, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, it is. It's true. Yeah.
So next week, we promise to tell you about our huge plans, and these really are huge plans. We promise to tell you all about that next week. But until then, please feel free to reach out, email us, Liz at It's a Drama, Brian at It's a Drama.
Yeah, don't bother doing it to me. I won't reply.
You can sign up for my newsletter, my front row newsletter, itsadrama.com/front row. That puts you in the behind the scenes newsletter of what's going on in life for us. And just thank you for, being there, and please leave us a review. I'm trying to think of all the things now that I want you to do. So a review is great.
Yeah, come on, you've got to get those reviews out there. If you listen to this, give us a review. And just, obviously, it's got to be 5 stars. That's what we always say, isn't it? And
let us know what you think of the show. We always absolutely cherish your comments, your emails, your messages. I know that sometimes I feel like this. I listen to podcasts and I think, I want to email them and tell them. And I don't, because I either don't have time, or I think they won't read it, or, it takes too much effort. So one, I really, really, really appreciate it when you do take the time to leave a comment, a review, an email. You don't know how much that means to us. We read every single comment, email.
Yeah, we do.
Email, message, whatever. We read all of them. But most importantly, we appreciate you for doing that. So if you would like to reach out, please do. Like I say, we read everyone. I try to answer as many emails as I can, and we just really appreciate it.
Yeah, and it helps the show. It helps us keep going as well.
It does.
Yeah, it really does.
So until next week, when we will share our big news with you, don't forget we're going to do our little diary entry at the end of this. So hang around if you'd like to hear from Brian and from me.
Oh, I and me.
Yes,
I
you've been hearing from I'm getting prepared now because you've made me nervous about my diary entry.
Here we go.
Until next time, do not forget, my heart always beats with yours. Always.
Yes, and I'm going to do my diary entry where the boat was.
Oh.
Anyway, so don't forget, kia kaha, stay strong, kia u, stay true. That's true to yourself. And that is, yes, very true to yourself. 140.
140 what? Okay, see you next time.
See you now. Bye.
I feel quite paranoid now. I feel like I'm going to be too emotional. But actually I won't be, because I'm not in that sort of state today. I feel strong. And I was just thinking then, what am I going to say? What should I talk about? I just wanted to say about what we talked about on the blood tests and the health thing, and just give you a little bit of insight into that, because again, it's one of those things that when you do a podcast, you want to talk about everything. You want to talk about everything that's gone on and everything that's going on and how you feel. And a lot of that for me is emotional. And I'm aware of that. I'm aware that, if I came on here every week crying about what's been going on, not to say that I've been all crying all week, because I haven't, but there have been days or times in the day that I've been struggling this week, and a lot of that is to do with health and constantly worrying about my own health and people's health. And I was writing in my journal today, in my morning pages, and I just said to myself, do you know what, Liz, how can you have something happen in the last year? How can you lose both parents within 6 months of each other and not feel life's fragility? That isn't possible. It's just not possible. You would have to be superhuman to come through thinking, well, I'm all right, everything's fine with me, like, I know that happened, but it's not going to affect me. And it has affected me massively, as it does anyone. I've got people in my life at the moment that I'm doing masterminds with, and those people have lost people and they're struggling. And I think probably everyone you speak to in this world will have gone through some sort of loss and afterwards felt it difficult to cope. And so when we talked about my blood test and my mammogram and my smear test, it's because, do you know what it is someone on my mastermind group she said this wonderful quote, and it said, listen to your body when it whispers so you don't have to hear it cry. I think that's right. I might have got that wrong. Listen to your body when it whispers so you don't have to hear it cry. Or it's not too late when it hears it cry, or something like that. And that prompted me to just think, you have to be proactive, Liz, because I'll be completely honest with you. I didn't want to go and get a smear test or any of my blood tests done because I was worried that they would come back, oh, you've got cancer, oh, you've got something wrong with you. So I was putting it off. And then she told me that quote. And I just thought, yeah, she's right. You have got to keep on top of this. You've got to be, like I say, proactive about it. So that's why I'm so proud of myself this week, because I made a point of having a complete full range of blood tests. I've done like urine samples, I've done smear tests, I've done the mammogram, and I've just been like really on top of it because I just thought knowledge is power, and hopefully it will ease these thoughts of natural thoughts. Let's be clear about that. It's just starting to rain, so I'm just going to move under the umbrella. Natural thoughts of when you lose someone, oh, everything's just going to go, I'm going to lose everything. It's going to be my health or Brian's health or the kids' health and all that. So yeah, that's my diary entry. That's me telling you what I've been up to and what I've been feeling like. And I'm so proud of myself this week because of that. And I did try and say it in a podcast that we just made last week. Please, please, please be on top of stuff like that. You know what? My mum wasn't. And neither was my grandma. They just was like, oh, if there's something wrong with me, I'll know about it. And I just thought, I can see that mentality. And that's how I was brought up, was like, until your body cries, don't do anything about it. But like I say, listen to the whispers. It's like, just go and get it checked. Just keep on top, just keep in control of it. Just you be the boss of that. And so, yeah, that was my diary entry. So a huge thank you to the lady who told me that quote, because it's made such a difference to the way I've been conducting my life these last 2 weeks. And a big, big love to you. If you're feeling the same as I do, and you're feeling fragile, and life around you and everything around you is fragile, just remember to take a breath and keep facing forward and get yourself checked. And that little bit of power just gives you an extra bit of strength. So sending you all my love. Thank you again for being here, and let's hear what Brian's got to say. Okay, speak to you soon.
Well, here we are, just me and thee. Yep, this is where the boat was. A quick spin round. Got loads of space now. It really is. It's great. And such a relief when you want to sell something, you get it sold in the end, and you just think, you walk out every morning, you go, it's gone. It's great. I've got more space, and it's good to have space in your head as well, and not keep thinking about those things with boats and things. It's nearly starting to rain up there, like the hills in the background, and so I'm going to be quick. Not that I want to take up your time, because I know you're listening, but yeah, it's just about breathing when the shit hits the fan and keeping your head. It makes a difference, and that's what I was trying to get across on the podcast. It's just, when it's all failing around you, keep thinking, keep moving forward, get through it. And it's it's a great feeling when you know you've got through something tough and you come through the other side of it and everything worked out, and you just think, yes, you did that because you kept me cool and you didn't lose it. You just keep going. Like you say, move through it, move forward. It's the only way sometimes. It really, really is. And it just, the benefits when you think like that and be positive, the impact it has on you afterwards is huge, because you just think, you did it, well done. A pat on the back. You just pat yourself on the back, because we don't do that these days. We tend to think, I haven't done anything, it wasn't me. And it's just like, well, it was no one else. But just appreciate who you are and what you are and what you can do, what you can achieve. It makes a big, big difference to yourself. And a big shout out and thank you to Liz for offering to take all the things off and give me space to be able to do the things I needed to do, even just to sell the boat. And again, just to move forward, get my videos edited up, get my backlog of work out and stuff like that. And just clearing stuff off your desk, it makes a big difference. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you and speak to you next week. And don't forget, if you do want to reach out to me, Brian, it's a drama, I will reply. And I'm only joking when I say I won't, but I will. But anyway, take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good week. See you now. Bye.
Hello.
and they take you upstairs. And because we were a couple, they put us in like these rooms, like they were separated
Like
by
four-poster
curtains.
beds, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's completely dark.
You've got to take all your clothes off and get into like a kimono.
You took all your clothes off?
Yeah, you had to.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah, but I was going for the full-time massage.
Tell me you took all your clothes off.
Yeah, why?
Are you lying,
No,
Brian?
I'm not.
Even your underpants?